created, they have one of two dispositions, which is either angry ghost or not so angry ghost. Basically, until you...
So more like an emo ghost.
Kind of, yeah, kind of like emo ghost, I guess. But basically, once you violate their space, which I don't even really remember what the distance is, but that would probably be considered a violation by the ghost. Their disposition can change, and if they get angry, then they will start shooting these things at you. So the interesting thing is, the more time you leave them alone, the more likely they are to go back into a friendly disposition, so you can encroach on them and they won't fire at you. So in terms of like killing them, if I run up on him, well, I was going to mention that. Once they actually fire one of the plasma doom ball, whatever they are, they actually won't phase out. Excuse me. Until the projectile has been destroyed, either by hitting another enemy or hitting you or hitting an obstacle or whatever. So basically, your chance to do damage to them is while they're in that kind of like cooldown phase. So in some ways, you kind of have to like eke them to or try to like annoy them enough to fire at you, and then hopefully you can get around them and cause some damage. So that's basically how it works. See, I didn't take any damage. Well, I took some damage, but that's because I wasn't paying attention. But
so let's see. The next question was, what happens if the Kickstarter doesn't succeed? And
we all cry.
Well, that is the first immediate and yes, sad effect. But I mean, it looks like we're on track for success right now, and especially with hopefully a lot of people watching this live stream and checking out Northern Lions video, and we've also we're working on getting some additional press from some major sites. We're pretty certain that it's going to succeed, but keep telling all your friends, keep tweeting about it. We've gotten a lot of support from Twitter and Facebook. So yeah, keep talking about it. Tell everyone you know. But yeah, anyway, if it doesn't succeed, I mean, the plan is to try to keep working on it, but we'll probably have to take additional contract work, which will slow down development of Delvers because we'll only be working on it half time or possibly less, which is kind of what we were doing a bit this winter until we kind of went back to full time to get the Kickstarter launched. So yeah, we wouldn't be able to release it on the schedule we've set unless because the plan is to release PC and Mac by October, and then release iOS and Android and Ouya in February of next year. So we wouldn't be able to keep to that schedule unless Kickstarter does come through.
That's actually a really interesting question.
So go ahead and read the question.
Let's see here. So it was asked, have you considered multiple terrain levels within a floor, accessible via stairs of some kind, environmentally, that sort of thing? And we talked about that because the game actually does support a Z depth, like things can be higher, things can be lower. In this build already, there are fireballs that shoot out of these turrets that are actually higher than the rats and the slimes, so they avoid them and that sort of thing. So
I can show an example, actually. I'm going to throw this bomb right here against the wall. Okay. Wrong weapon. And it will actually blow me over that little gap, hopefully. Yeah. So,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, the physics are actually being resolved in 3 dimensions, albeit with primitive shapes.
Yeah, because that's one of the things, especially at some of the, some of the Zelda games, well, any of those, the Zelda games, Secret of Mana, that sort of stuff, where you can change terrain. You walk upstairs, you walk downstairs, all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, and Links in the Past even had sort of bridges. It would have two
layers. I think it's like the desert temple has like the where it's got bridges.
Oh yeah, like grates, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely something that we've talked about doing. We even talked about, I think we talked about if you had like water because of the Z-depth stuff, you could actually have the character waiting in it and that sort of thing, where it's actually like different levels of water. So yeah, good question.
Let's see. So someone asked, will this endless drop mode still exist in the future? And the answer is yes. We're not sure how you'll access that in the game yet. It'll either be the main menu or through something kind of in your starting room. You can choose to either continue your campaign or just hop into endless drop mode so you can have some quick fun, try to beat your high score, that sort of thing. And we're also kind of thinking about some other modes. Most of those are tied to stretch goals if you check out the Kickstarter campaign. But yeah, this one will definitely be in the game.
You should mention that this is one of the modes that would be for local co-op.
Would it be? Was that what we talked? I mean, well, the local co-op. Well, yeah, for the 2-player co-op for the familiars, it would be for this mode, and for the campaign as well. So let's see, what engine are we using to build this game? Kobe, you want to field that one?
Kobe Engine 1.0.
Yeah, it's all custom. A long time ago, I was using a little game framework called PTK to make my crappy indie games. We're talking like almost 8 years ago now. And then, then I went and worked in the industry, and obviously we're using our own stuff. Whenever I quit and went indie, I was pretty interested in tech since always. And I actually, for a little while, used a predecessor of PTK, and it got bought up and sort of disappeared. And so from that point on, I just decided to write my own, and this is it. Ouch.
You got hit by that fireball.
So yeah, basically our in-house engine, and that's what also allows us to support so many platforms. So PC, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, those are all planned. Does the game have secret floors or areas on a floor you can drop down to? And so the answer to that, quick answer, yes. We're going to have lots of kind of secret areas and things to open up. And what are the coins used for? You'll be able to find kind of hidden shopkeepers in the game. Basically, people who kind of live in this castle, sort of lost souls who, basically make their living off of selling items and weapons to these delvers. So the delvers go and get gold, and you'll kind of find a hidden room that has this old shopkeeper in it. And you can also, your gold is persistent. We may give you a minor penalty when you die in the campaign, but you will keep some of your gold from your last play. So that's one of the things that isn't permadeath or tied to permadeath, even though we're going to give you a total like 100% permadeath option if you want it. But anyway, when you start a new character, you'll be able to buy some items and weapons and things like that if you have enough gold saved up, so you don't have to start completely from scratch. Let's see.
Yeah, Jim's a hot man.
Yeah, I know.
For being the resident fighting of Isaac Curly.
Yeah, well, put me on the keyboard and we'll have a different story.
Well, you could play it that way, I suppose.
Yeah, I could. Oh, holy crap! Blind spots. It also doesn't help having the camera like right in the very center of the TV.
Yeah, we're playing the game on my TV, which is behind the camera, so it's kind of obscuring the character half the time. That was the way I could get it to look the best. So Ryan likes to use that to as an excuse for him dying.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next question was, will the profiles be linked from PC to Android or basically between multiple platforms such as saves and character progression?
Good question.
We would really like that to happen.
Yeah, that's kind of our dream goal at the moment. We can't completely guarantee it.
There have been some things in the works, we can say that much. But
yeah, so we will try our best to do that. But yeah, we can't guarantee profiles being linked. Beware the rats, do they explode? ? Yeah, the rats explode. We're still kind of working on that a bit. They're actually they're called plague rats. So they're kind of diseased, poisonous piles of pus. So whenever you kill them on the second strike, they kind of pause for a moment and then explode in a cloud of poison gas and all of that, which isn't in quite yet. But yeah, they're going to spray poison, so you could actually take damage from the poison that splatters out, or other enemies could as well.
Right. Right now, they just basically use a smaller version of the bomb explosion.
You might talk for a second about like what we have in here is sort of a hodgepodge of enemies, and that when the actual like story campaign and that sort of thing, that the enemies will be more environment appropriate, I guess would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of these are pretty appropriate for the jail level, but yeah, we kind of just like worked on some enemies that we thought would look cool and have interesting behaviors, but eventually we're going to have probably somewhere between like 5 and 10 unique enemies per zone, and we're planning on 8 zones in the game right now. So yeah, this is sort of the jail level, the level you would start out in. So it's pretty kind of just bleak and bare bones in terms of the environment look and everything. We're going to have much more colorful environments eventually. But anyway, so moving on.
If you get the room, there's like 2 of them. That is actually hard.
someone asked, how do you account for the possibility of floor puzzles that can't be solved either due to randomization or through player action? Yeah, basically we're going to design the algorithms that control floor randomization so that they always can be solved, and even by any given character class. Now, there probably are some ways that you could screw yourself over by using up, like say if you need bombs to get through a room, we will generate bombs in that room, but then if you use up all of those bombs and get yourself trapped, well, like, that's kind of your bad. So we're going to avoid that as much as possible. But you know, if you were in a real dungeon and you needed bombs to get out, and you threw them at the bats and then like didn't use them to blow your way out of the room, which is what you actually needed to do, then yeah, you would just be trapped in there alive. So we kind of want that feeling of like you're in a real dungeon, you can really get yourself stuck, but we're going to design it and obviously test it and everything